Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. It's new comic book day, and I just got back from the comic shop, and I got a lot of pleasant surprises today, a lot of interesting stuff today, and I want to share what I got with everybody right now. I'm doing a live stream. I'm trying this whole live stream thing, and I'm hoping that um, people like it. If you don't like it, write that you hate it and put a thumbs down. But if you do like it, let me know that as well. I think it gives us a kind of a nice little. Hold on, I got this. This is what I get. I don't change my stuff out. All right. So okay. So sorry about that. So I think that my progress in my new comic journey is about learning, getting really familiar with the hobby, and I'm starting to get a little bit more keen as far as uh, going to the comic shops and adapting to the new modern books and testing out what I like and not like. So I'm not going to drag this out. I'm going to get to the comics. First off, as you can see, I have some comics that are in backboards, some that are raw, and as you can see right here, there's a lot of older ones here too. And there's a couple of reasons why I did this. First of all, I'm going to show everybody off the ones that are in the backboards in the right order because this was a pickup that was on my punch list that I was able to find when I was there, and I was really, really pleasant to find it. Now, you're going to see the cover prices on here, and they're not what I paid. The comic book owner gave me a better discount on them. I know I kind of probably paid a little bit more than what they're worth, but they're in really nice shape, and they were a complete collection that I wanted for multiple reasons. The first reason is these are extremely reminiscent of my childhood. I get a lot of nostalgia when it comes to these books. Now, they're not the most mainstream books and they're not the most mainstream characters, but at the same time, they were part of my childhood. And let me go on without ranting right now. It was Squadron Supreme. So during my early days of comic book collecting, of actually truly collecting, because I was picking up comics here and there from the newsstands every so often when I was younger and younger, and didn't really, collect with a purpose uh, until I got a little bit older. But when right around this time when these came out, I picked up this series, and it was actually I didn't have all the books. I ended up getting them all later on uh, because I was getting them off newsstands, and I fell in love completely with the series. It's not your mainstream stuff. Squadron Supreme was always an offshoot, but I didn't even know that at the time. I thought they were part of the Marvel universe at that time because it was a Marvel comic, and I thought they were part of the same story. I didn't even realize this was a different alternate story. So I loved it. Uh, Even though I read them young, I did understand the concept, and it's a great, great story. Now, are they worth a tremendous amount of money? No, but they're a great read. And if Disney actually has real intentions of starting a more mature type of channel or like similar to Disney Plus with content like Deadpool and stuff like that, this is a great, great, great story to put out in a series. Great story. It's not quite Watchmen, but it's very, very close. That's my opinion. If you're If you disagree with me and you actually read it, let me know. But if you haven't read this whole series, I strongly suggest it. Now I got this entire series for $40. Like I said, I think I paid a little too much for it, but these are all really clean copies, really clean copies. And again, I had them there. I probably could have gotten on eBay for like 25, $30 for the whole series and paid shipping on top of it, or maybe even a little cheaper. Probably would have gotten in worse shape. I'm happy with them. You know, it's a 12 book series, and it cost me basically oh, there we go. I thought I had turned it off. It's a 12 book series, and it basically cost me a little over $4 a piece. I'm happy with that. So you have number one, number two, number three. All great covers, by the way. And yes, these were characters that were designed to be a ripoff of the Justice League, but it goes far beyond that. Believe me, once you hear this, read the stories, and see how weird and political it gets, and it's a really great story. It ends with the characters' looks and possible powers as far as the Justice League comparison. After that, it goes bonkers. You got to read the story. So you have four, five, six. Great cover. I love this cover. One of my favorites. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And by the way, 12 was actually the first issue I had picked off the racks. I didn't even know uh, anything about the other books until I read this, and I had to basically backtrack to understand the whole story better. But again, I got it when I was a kid. I love the cover. Beautiful story. Well worth the read. Not saying that this is spec, but if you enjoy comics, definitely give it a chance. So I'm gonna not go into the brand new books right now. I'm going to go into a couple other things before I go into that. So as this comic shop, one of the things they have is they have dollar bins, $2 bins. I'm sorry, and 50 cents bins. Now they're 50 cents bins. You could get three for $1. Okay, and that's like right next to the register. So every time I go there, I take a quick look while I'm waiting, and if I see something that catches my eye, I grab it. So this was one of those things that catch my eye. These two books, because they're in plastics, that's how they have their way of identifying what's a 50-cent book and what's a $2 book, is if they have it in a pallet of plastic. Now these are not amazing, extraordinary books. These two books, but I got them for a couple of reasons. One, I picked up the Rogue because I've noticed that there's been a high demand on those Gambit miniseries books. This is the only Rogue book, a series that she was solo on, as far as I know of. And for $2, I just picked it up to add it to my collection. It was one of those books that I lost down the line, just like my Squadron Supremes. So why not have it in my collection? And I would kick myself if I saw it and just didn't pick it up for $2. Now, the second book that I picked up from that $2 bin was Secret Wars 10. Now, this is not the greatest condition book, but I have a personal mission and a personal uh, goal to pick up every single Secret Wars book, original Secret Wars book I can find, and put together a pristine condition 1 through 12 set and one that's reader grade. So I'm picking up everything I can, putting everything together. That includes number 8. I want one that's pristine that I could get in a slab because I want to make them uniform, and I might even display them because it's one of my favorite series. This I love for a different reason altogether from Squadron Supreme. Again, it reminds me of my childhood, but at the same time, this was the story that introduced me to all the Marvel characters other than Hulk and Spider-Man and um, the classics. It introduced me to a whole bunch of new characters and villains that I never knew about at that point. So I love this series. The covers are timeless for me. I mean, this Doctor Doom cover is something, you know, that I always loved and appreciated. So for $2, you can't go wrong. Now we're going to go into the interesting stuff. All these following books I picked up from that 50 cents bin, and it was three for a dollar. So it comes out to 33 cents each, basically 33, 34 cents, or any way you want to split it. A lot of the books in there are crap. There's only one short box that he has with these books. But I picked these books up for a couple of reasons. The last few times I went there, I've been picking up some books. One, because I had an inspiration from another channel on YouTube, Jerry the Jitterbug. And if you haven't watched his channel, I strongly recommend that you do watch his channel because this guy is amazing. He does some phenomenal restoration type work, cleaning work on old comics, and he kind of inspired me to like try to spruce up some of my older books as much as I can with my limited talents because I don't have talent. I'm not even close to that guy. But try to clean up books and try to get them to look a lot better than what they currently are. So I've been picking up some of these cheap 33-cent books to practice on because if I screw them up, I won't have any remorse. So part of that was I got this one because this one I got shortly for the reason of it's Uncanny X-Men 516. And the reason I got this book was because I saw some creases throughout, and this is going to give me a nice way to try to figure out how to uh, play around with pressing. I'm going to try doing it by hand, see how that works out. And at the same time, I don't really have many books of Uncanny X-Men past, I want to say the early 300s. So it gives me a way to be introduced to these stories. I don't mind reading them, and even if I damage them, who cares? I got it for really cheap, and it's a fun story to read. And at the same time, I'll practice my pressing. So I got this one for that reason. Then I discovered this, which was really, really interesting. Now you could see that there's some creases, some ticks. Nothing's color breaking though. And this is Anne Rice's vampire list, the vampire Lestat. Now, one of the things that is really amazing about this book is that it's been skyrocketing for some reason on the web. Like if you're looking at the auction sites and you're looking at eBay, these things have been selling out left and right, and I don't understand why. It's a nice book. Um, it was printed in 1990. It was by Innovation, which did a lot of quirky books like this back then. But I saw it for 33 cents, and I knew that was fresh in my mind. And I even heard a couple of YouTube guys talk about this. So I picked it up for 33 cents, and then I quickly looked, and it's selling for 15, $20 on eBay left and right. So I'm keeping this book. I'm gonna press it if I see a continual increase. Probably gonna professionally press this one, and have a nice copy for my PC. And if it gets really really bonkers and the price goes crazy, then I'll sell it. Who knows? But I think this was a diamond in the rough. I got, I think, a real gem in that 33-cent box. Let me know what you think, or if you even recognize this book. Then I got a Punisher number 5, again, to practice cleaning and pressing with. Nothing ordinary out of this. Plus, I'm also going to give everybody a tip. If you're going to be buying stuff from comic book shops, especially these cheap bins, if they still have a quarter bin, 50-cent bins, dollar bins, and you're picking up a bunch of stuff, I would throw in some random books like this into what you get so that you don't really alert the shop that you're like cherry picking. You know what you're picking. If you see some random books like this, they're gonna say, "Oh, this guy's just picking up whatever," you know. But if you're picking up really like key stuff like this stuff, and that's it, they know you're cherry picking. You know what you're looking at, and this is where it could cause some like aggravation, as far as some comic book shops saying, "Well, I didn't know it was in there," and trying to gouge you and that kind of thing. If actually Journo, who has a great channel on YouTube as well, uh, did a whole video about this, about somebody gouging, which it actually was illegal of how they did that in California. I don't know what the story is here in New York. I don't care, but if you're going to be picking boxes like this, personally, pick a couple random books, so something that you might like. Like I like Punisher. I like the Punisher, especially single digit early issues. So I found it, I got it, and I won't feel any remorse for picking it up and adding it to my collection. Now, the next book is an interesting book. Now, I'm not necessarily going to hide the fact that I hate Rom. So, why did I pick up this book of Rom? No, this was not to throw off the scent of me cherry picking comics. This was actually a very specific reason why I got it. You see this person right here? That's actually Rogue from the X-Men. Rogue has been in spec lately. She's very popular. And this is an extremely early appearance of her. That's not very well known. Now, this comic is actually in really nice shape. I don't know how it's in such nice shape, considering considering the fact that it was thrown in that bin and everything was bent all over the place. But it's a really nice shaped book. It's an early appearance of Rogue, and for 33 cents, specking on this book a little bit, just specking on the, hey Jerry, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I think you just might have missed my promoting your great restoration skills. So that's actually Jerry the Jitterbug that's in the chat right now. He didn't pay me to say all the nice things about his channel, by the way. Um, this is a very interesting book. For 33 cents, I don't see any downfall as far as specking on this. So, like, I'm not a huge spec guy, but if I'm going to uh, spec on something, I'm not going to get nuts about how much I pay for it. So, even the back cover. Look at this; it's a nice, clean white cover. This a little bit of cleaning on the back could make it perfectly white. Jerry, if you're still on, put a thumbs up or thumbs down as far as this is a very cleanable book. So the next book I got is Wolverine 83. This was another filler book that I got purposely, like I said, just to throw off the scent as far as what I was doing with these boxes. Um, Plus, it's a Wolverine book, 33 cents. I'll practice my cleaning skills on this one too, even though it's not bad. Considering these comics have been like sitting in those boxes, like no covering, no protection, not bad at all. So these are the other sleeper books that I found in that box. Were really interesting. You have Scary Godmother, Volume One. You can see the indentations here. They definitely could use a press and a little bit straightening, but that's okay. Scary Godmother 2, and Scary Godmother 3. This one is probably the worst one out of all of them because of this dent in the corner that's color breaking. But one, two, three. I got the entire lot, this entire lot for $1 from that bin. $1. Now, why did I pick up this book? Here's an interesting story while I was sitting there. I turn around, they have a rack right by where that bin was. And on that rack are trade paperbacks. My eyes, as I'm going through this, look at that rack and see a trade paperback of Scary Godmother. So my thoughts are, if this comic, this series was interesting enough to actually put a trade paperback on, and it's not a brand new series. So let me see. I think this is early 2000s. Let's see. First printing. Oh, by the way, they're all first printings. 2001. So if this was an interesting enough book to have a trade paperback of, then there's something to it. There's some kind of base. And then I quickly, when I got into my car after, because these got me so curious, I looked them up. They're selling for like 10, $20 left and right. So this was another real surprise comic set that I was able to pick up again, all three for $1. That's nuts. That's nuts. And they have really nice back covers as well. See that? Really, really interesting art. And then last of this bunch is, what if the Scarlet Spider killed Spider-Man? And that's what if number 85. I think I've said this on previous videos that I'm doing a full run of what if. I don't mind the cover condition. This one's really gnarly. This is missing a chunk from the top. That's okay. I'm gonna read it because I've never read it. I don't have many what ifs from this particular what if series. I have many from the first and second series of what if, but not many from this. So interested to read it. Should be a good read. I'm never disappointed with what if. I always find them interesting, and at the same time, it's just gonna add another book to my collection. Like I said, I I'm gonna try to get them all in there, regardless of the shape, as long as they're readable. If they're readable copies, I'm fine with that. The only ones I'm gonna be more particular about, as far as getting in better conditions, are the probably the first run of the first 10 of the original series, because those are the older ones, and for me, they hold a little bit more um, nostalgic value. But that's it. Everything else, reader grade is fine. I just want to have a complete run of them and read all the stories and enjoy them. Now that we're done with this, let's go into the brand new books. Finally, we're gonna get into, it's new comic book day. I may as well do some brand new books. So here's what I got. By the way, I'm gonna mention something about my pet peeve once more. LCSs, comic shops, should at least put their new comics in a plastic. They don't have to board them. At the very least, they should put them in a new plastic. Now, I'm getting annoyed trying to protect the books in transportation. Now, this time I was creative because I bought that set of Squadron Supreme. I took these books and sandwiched them in between the backboards and just held them nice stacked on a flat surface in my car so that they won't roll around so they won't get damaged. It's not like I'm expecting like major damage to happen, but if for some reason or another, because they're unprotected, I got a little nick or a little crease or a little something on them, it's going to irritate the hell out of me. The other thing is, I sit down and drink coffee in the car, I drink water, or whatever. Something might spill or whatever the case. I don't want it to get damaged. So, either way, that's my rant on the status of the LCSs on that. But the first book I got was Joker number two. Now, I didn't start buying Joker until the third issue, and I got the one with the Joker face on it, and that's what pulled me in to get it. Um, and then I heard that this one actually had the first appearance of Bane's daughter. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a big deal or not, but I wasn't going to go spend crazy amounts of money to go get the back issue number two because that's already going at crazy prices. But they did have a second printing of two. So if it's good, I enjoy it. I'll read the story, and I actually have it now. Now the only thing that is going to make this difficult for me now because I have two and I have three, now the completionist of me is going to make me want to go get number one. So now I'm going to go in the process of trying to find a number one as low cost as possible, and those are already going a lot higher than what average um, uh, cover prices, way higher than that. So, by the way, the first printing of this is going way higher as well. So, I don't mind having the second printing. I have it. Great. If I could get a first printing for a reasonably up cost on top of the actual cover price, so be it. I'll get it. If not, it's not going to make me cry. I'm not going to get into that FOMO crap. Okay. So the second book I got, which was really interesting to me, was Tankers number one. Now, Tankers is a very, very hot book right now. Everybody on YouTube that's associated with comics has been talking about it like crazy. I didn't get the first edition when it first came out, and this is the first edition, by the way. And I saw that the comic store had number one and number two next to each other. So what I did was I actually bought two copies of number one and one of number two. So when I went to the pay for them, he said I can't have two number twos, number ones. So why not? You got plenty over there. I said no, I could only sell you. That's the rules by Bad Idea Comics, which is the publisher of this. They will now allow you to sell more than one copy to one customer. Now, is he feeding me a whole bunch of BS by saying that? I don't know. Is he being true to what he's supposed to be doing? I don't know. All I know is I got the comic that I wanted. I got a cover price. I would like to have a second copy because of all this hysterical and crazy, because these copies are already selling for 15, 20 bucks online. So I was happy to get it. And I heard that it's a really good story, by the way. So I'm happy I got one. I have two. And when three comes out, after I'm done reading these, I'll probably pick up that if these stories really meet up to the um, expectation. It's supposed to be some really wild stuff of time traveling and killing dinosaurs and this and that. It's supposed to be really wild. So I'm really looking forward to actually picking this up. So I'm glad I got these. These a little bit of spec, but more curiosity. And again, I got them for cover price. So I am happy about that. Again, I'm telling you, I'm not going to feed into this new comic book crazy where the comic just came out and I'm going to pay crazy amounts of money for it. Speaking of which, here's Fortnite, the other crazy comic. So this one I got purely for the fact that my son's really into Fortnite and you have these comic codes in there. I had gotten them number two. For some reason or another, three was sold out immediately, just like number one. So I never got a chance to get that for him. But I did get this. This was almost sold out when I got there. And there you go. Fortnite number four. No, I'm sorry. 0 point number four, the Fortnite edition. And he gets his code. So my son should be happy. And by the way, he read number two and said it was a really cool story. So I'm sure he'll like this one too. That's for my son. Next book I got. This was pure spec and a little bit of like. So the nice house on the lake. Okay. So spec part of me picked up two copies because I've been hearing a lot of really big deal stuff about this. And the guy that I guess wrote it, Tinian, is supposedly everything he writes is gold. So because of this spec, because of this craziness, I picked up two copies. But the reality of the matter is, if I saw this on the shelf without even knowing what it's about or hearing anything, I probably would have picked it up anyway. And the reason is you got an image of like a whole bunch of skeletons with like some like little girl's head coming out of the water over there. Really vivid, with this really dark house in the background with the lights on. It's really, really interesting story that the cover provides for me. So I'm actually really looking forward to reading. So I'm going to read one copy and I'm going to take the other copy. I'm going to put it in a piece of plastic and a blackboard, keep it there. And if this thing goes bonkers, I'll sell one and I'll keep one. But I'm not going to do that very often with these new comics. I've refused to. I do not want to get into this. I hope this is a really great story and I'll continue reading it. If it's not, at worst case scenario, I paid $3.99 for it. Four eight 8.98 for. I'm sorry, 7.98 for both copies. I'm not gonna be happy about having two crappy copies, but it's not backbreaking. Then the next book I found that was really interesting. Did you ever notice how many DC books I got? It's funny. Like normally I'd have Marvel dominated books, especially when I was a kid. It would be all Marvel, be very little of anything else. Um, Maybe some independent, but you know, DC's got some really interesting books. You got The Conjuring. You have this nice house on the lake. The Fortnite stuff, which is a gimmick. I'm not even gonna get into that. And then I got Joker. Really nice comics. I know that DC's have been getting a bad rap right now, but I'm seeing some quality stuff coming out of them. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. Let me know if you're into what DC is doing these days. Let me know. So I got this one, The Conjuring, The Lover, number one, and I'm thinking this is something to do with ghosts or poltergeists or something like that. Maybe it's like the Conjuring movie. So picked it up, check it out. I'm into this horror stuff. If it is horror, I'll be in. If it's a good story, I'm going to buy more of them. I'll continue buying the series. You notice how horror dominated a lot of this stuff is. The last two books were all horror. I like the fact that horror is making a comeback. I love all those old horror books. And if you see some of the upcoming videos that I'm going to be doing as far as unboxing with some of the stuff I picked up, you're gonna definitely appreciate some of the stuff that I've been doing, been picking up, and makes you realize why I appreciate some of this new horror stuff even more. All right, so the next one is my third Batman book from the Batman family of books out there. And this one, this was pure spec. Mostly spec, a little bit of curiosity. Okay, so people have been making a big deal about a new character that was introduced, Miracle Molly. First of all, I think it's a really goofy name, Miracle Molly. Um, there were two versions of this. There was one more expensive with a harder cover, and there was a cheaper version, which is this one. I think the harder copy was $1 more, but I didn't find it intriguing enough to get the more expensive version. I got a copy of it just to one, have a copy of this new character. If it's a great popular new character, great. If you get some value in the product, great too. I will say that the art is pretty nice on it. It's not bad art at all. I love the way they have Batman rendered here. I don't like her so much, but I like the way they have Batman on there. Um, and I'll probably go through it, read it. If it's good read, great. If not, that's fine too. This was pure spec, and I'm hoping that this story is enough to engage me and actually get me back into Batman. Let's see. And then the final book that I got is my only Marvel book from today. And I don't even know if I should consider Marvel Star Wars. Star Wars is really Star Wars, even though it's Marvel. But this is the only Marvel book I got, and the reason I got it is because I'm not very familiar all the new stuff happening right now with the Star Wars world, and I'm not really like looking forward to jumping in on any series and being lost completely as far as what's going on. So this one just came out, The War of Bounty Hunters, and it's number one. So I'm assuming this at least will give me a great starting point to be able to understand some storyline. Um, the art is really nice in this book, really, really nice. And I figured I'd give it a shot. Why not? I have nothing to lose, but you know, 10 minutes of reading, and if it's great, I'll be happy. If it's not, so be it. But that's a lot of stuff I got today. Now, did I get some really cool stuff? As soon as I read it, I'll know. Did I get some real hidden gems? I think so. I really do think so. I think I got some really, really, really um, sleeper books. This one is definitely a sleeper. Those scary grandmothers are real sleepers. Uh, this one is hot for some reason or another. If anybody knows why this comic is hot right now, please let me know. I don't understand, but I saw the trends, and like I said, I saw it in that box. I had to pick it up, you know, and then you know we had that stuff, and then you got my Squadron Supreme. So overall, I came back with a lot more stuff than I expected to come back with. Um, normally, this is probably the only stuff I would have came back with, but this stuff was just too tempting to leave behind. And when I saw that they had the full series of Squadron Supreme, I had to pick it up. Um, it was on my bucket list. It's off now. Check. So let me know if you guys like this whole streaming format, if it's something that I should continue doing, if you think that um, you find what I have to offer or say in these videos is interesting. If you think that it sucks, let me know that as well. I'm not, I'm not feeling bad about any of that. But until next time, keep collecting, everyone, and I'll continue to recollect. Have a great night, everyone.